And I'm very, very excited, bringing warmth to my heart on a cold December day, sitting here with our good friend of the program, AJ Cole. AJ, it's so good to see you, brother.
Coach, thanks for having me.
There's so much of what you guys do that's kind of living in the world of the numbers and the metrics and this, that, and the other. Like for the people like me, there's certain stats that I look at to kind of gauge how my boys downstairs in the specialist room are doing. But like, what are the big numbers that are important to you?
In terms of like just punting? Yeah, I would say that the things I look at is I try and look at average, which is the basic one. I try and look at net average, and I try and look at like inside the 20 percentage. I would say those would be probably the big three where you can kind of get like a full story of what's happening. I mean, I look at all the stats. I look at percentage of punts that are returned. I look at how many you get out of bounds, fair catches, things like that. So, I mean, I'm looking at all the stats, but I'd say if you had to pick three, if you just look at average, net, and inside the 20 percentage, you can paint like a pretty decent picture of what's going on. Yeah. Still not complete, but decent.
You know, the one that I always, it's like the glamour one is like the big, like the 60-yard plus ones, right? Which are like it's fun to see, but to your point, right, maybe not the best representation of the season as a whole. But for me, as I was going through the numbers, AJ, you realize we're only 4 off, 4 60-plus yard punts from breaking your own record from a year ago. Like, do you care about, I don't even say like the record, but do you care about like kind of the big, gaudy, like big number punts at all?
Yeah, I mean, people dig the long ball. Like it's fun to hit them, but you got to hit them and make sure that they're coverable and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know that's where it was. How many did I have last year?
Last year, per our friends downstairs in the Raiders communication staff, you had 16 of them in 2023.
So we're like 12 this year?
12.
Yeah, that's not something that I really keep track of. I'd say the three that I look at the most are probably the three that I said earlier. But yeah, the 60-yard bombs, those are the moneymaker. That's the glory punt for sure. That's when you're swinging for the fences.
Yeah, and it's fun to see, right? Like it gives me my my weekly AJ Cole is a weapon tweet, which is always a nice thing to be able to fire off in a game day. But I haven't talked to you in a minute, and we haven't fully discussed the greatness that was your singular pass attempt for 2024 so far. So again, I don't want to get you in trouble and have you spill state secrets, but like at what point in the year do you say, hey, like there might be a chance for me to have this opportunity on a game day?
Yeah, I mean, that one was a play that we had ran in practice for a couple weeks. We'd maybe had it up for like 6 or 7 weeks. We'd had it up for a while, and it looked great in practice. Every time we ran it, I don't even think it looked as good as it looked in the game in practice, but it looked good, and we felt really good about it, the way it went. You never really know how it's going to go when you get out there and the bullets are flying, but it was a fake that we were kind of clamoring to get called. We were constantly in the coach's ear, saying, hey, like, we got to call this. Like, this is a real play. And I think the fact that Divine was the one catching it made people a little bit more excited for it too. I mean, how could you ask for a better guy to catch a football? And so for him as a linebacker too, defensive guys, I like when people touch the football that don't usually get to do it. So linemen, defensive players, stuff like that, that's fun. But yeah, so we called it, and I mean, he was just so open. It was crazy. There was nobody even. So that's when you just put a little air under it and watch him run.
Were you nervous at all that he was like too open? Because from your perspective, right? If you get to like kind of fit one in there and it's incomplete, it's like, hey man, I'm just a quarterback back here trying to make a play. But if you had like airmailed him where it comes up short, like, is there any like a 3-point shooter, like, dude, I was just too open. I had no one in my face. Like, is there any of that thought process for you when you see him that wide open?
No, I don't think so really. I mean, I'm trying to put myself. As soon as I saw how open he was, I just immediately, I was already celebrating just about. And I got some grief from some of the fellas on the sideline. They're like, oh, you put too much air under, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, if you see the wide receiver wide open right in front of you, you just put a little air on it. There's no glory in zipping one in there and showing off the arm strength like that. Sometimes you just got to put it on him and let him run.
How like hard is it for the whole operation to, go out there and essentially set up like you're going to go business as usual, knowing like, hey, this is not going to be business as usual? Like, how do you kind of not tip your hand in that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to start it in practice, and you just have to run it over and over again, and then just keep control of your emotions. And sometimes you go out there and you'll have a fake called, and there'll be like an audible to check out of it. But this one we had no check, so when we're calling it. And so I think that was maybe a little bit easier because you have time when you're running on the field to sort of get set versus sometimes when you get out there and it's like a specific look and they're like, all right, we're running it. People start to like kind of, but I think the time on the field when you're jogging on the field, you maybe have time to settle the emotions a little bit, focus on the breath, deep inhale.
And whatever you guys did, it worked,
sure
right?
did.
I mean, so we were texting about it after the game. Like your career passer rating is pretty stellar.
Yeah, 118.8, if anyone was wondering.
Yeah, I was going to say, not that off the top of your head or anything.
I couldn't tell you any of my punting stats, but I know my QB stats.
As you should. And you and I have talked about this before, and I think one of the reasons that like I love special teams so much, outside of seeing you and Daniel go out there and do your thing, is that it feels like it's such a collective effort, right? Like we've talked about it every year since you've been here. Like guys make really nice careers in the NFL being dominant special teams contributors, right? Whether it's punters or kickers or gunners or snappers, whatever it is, right? But I think what's like really cool is that you and Daniel in particular have seen so many young guys kind of start their journey on special teams and then grow to bigger, roles on offense or defense, whatever it is. Like when you look at the core of like young guys this year that you've dealt with, like it's got to be pretty rewarding to you to like see them get more and more put on their plate on all sides of the football going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's not forget that the right tackle on punt for the first 3 games of the 2019 season, my rookie year, was none other than, do you know?
2019
right tackle
on punt.
2019.
Oh man,
I'll give you a hint. He wears number 98.
Oh. That's too good of a hint. I was going to say
Max
Colton,
Crosby was playing right tackle for us on punt. So you see guys like start their career on punt and then turn into what he's turned into now. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you want to take a rep? A little
he probably
little lap
would.
around the block?
He probably would though, right?
Yeah, he's running out there. He's got a great tackle against Minnesota that he had week 3, and then that's when he forever left punt that week. But it is super rewarding to see the young guys come up and watch them sort of earn their stripes. And it's fun at times to see guys sort of phase their way out of punt. We had Isaiah Polamalu was our PP for the majority of the season last season. He started this year, and unfortunately Marcus got hurt, and so Zay steps in and starts playing defense, and he's been playing really good ball over there. And so it's fun to see guys kind of take the step into offense or defense. But like you said, I mean, punt, I think it's the ultimate football play. It's offense, it's defense, it's everybody combined, and it just kind of crosses those lines. I think that sometimes football can click up a little bit into offense and defense, and I think special teams is the unifying force at times that brings both sides of the ball together. Well,
and again, not to pump you up too much, but I feel like you and Daniel in particular, just the personalities that you have, the way that you go about business is probably a big reason for that, right? Like 2 incredibly personable guys who have been here now for a minute, as crazy as that sounds. And so I think a lot of that, kind of the history you have here, again, the personalities, the big personalities, like I think that does help. It is a unifier across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think specialists should always be morale captains and vibes chiefs. Like that's kind of one of our jobs. It's not maybe in the contract, but it should be.
100%. And we talk about being the captain of the vibes, you and Daniel, very, very much at the top of that list. But I did tell you one of the reasons I wanted to bring you up here is I did want to talk about the My Cause My Cleats stuff. I think it's, the NFL does such a good job with so many of its like social justice initiatives and giving you guys an opportunity to kind of share things that are really important to you. And this year, again, they're doing it, and I think it's one of the best things that they do the entire calendar year. So, AJ Cole, the floor is yours. What are the cleats that we're going to be wearing? What are they going to look like? And 2, what is the cause that we're championing in 2024?
So I'm a little stitious about the cleats, so I don't actually wear them in the game. You can't mess up it is what it is. So I don't actually wear the cleats, but the cleats that I have, they're for this organization called the Kenya Project. I've done them as My Cause My Cleats every year. I went over there in college, and it's an organization that supports a school, and there's about 800 kids that go there. And it's actually an organization that I'm on the board of now, which has been an awesome experience for me. But I went over there 5 times, and hopefully going to go back at some point. Still working on trying to figure that out. But it's a really cool organization that, I mean, I've been boots on the ground, so I've actually seen where the money that's being donated goes to, and I've seen what it does and how it's kind of changed the life of these kids. Since I've been working with them, that we've built a trade school over there, so that kids that don't have an opportunity to advance their education can learn how to become, a plumber, electrician, something like that. And so, yeah, it's called the Kenya Project. Their website's thekenyaproject.org. They do some incredible stuff over there, and I'm super fortunate to have been able to work with them, and I'm really excited always to have them on the cleats.
One of the things that I think is like so cool again about this initiative is I think it gives not only the fans a great opportunity to kind of learn more about all you guys that decide to kind of opt into this initiative, but I think it gives the guys in the locker room an opportunity to kind of be like, oh, AJ's more than just the vibe morale captain, or this is something that's really important to Colton. So like I think like that element of it too, like it probably is a great chance for you to get to know your teammates a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a conversation starter, and it's really awesome to see too. All of these organizations, for the most part, are organizations that the players have had personal interactions with in some way. Maybe it's a family member that started it, or maybe it's their organization, or whatever it is. And it really just reminds you like how much good that this organization is doing off the field, the players, and what's organized just through the from the top down. And so it just really is cool. I mean, we have such an incredible platform as NFL players, and I think it's absolutely paramount that we utilize that to the best of our abilities. I believe that's why we've been given our platform, is to try and serve others and enrich their lives. And so it's really exciting when you see that being lived out in your teammates.
Yeah, very, very cool. Shifting back to the business at hand, Monday Night Football, baby, prime time. Here we go back at Allegiant. Got to be cool for you guys under the lights. First time we've had a primetime game at Allegiant in a minute. Like, it's got to be nice to come home after being on the road for so long, and got to be exciting to see the fans back in that house again.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, we have the greatest stadium, the greatest place to play. And we had a super road front-loaded schedule, and so it'll be good to get back there. I'm from Atlanta, so playing against the Falcons means a little something to me. I'm going to have carry the one like 1 billion people come to the game this week, so that'll be really awesome, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't even think we've had one night game so far, so this is our first night game. It just feels a little bit different. I know we're inside, but you can tell when the lights are off outside.
Big time.
Changes the energy.
Mom and dad Cole in the house?
Of course.
Okay, I got to come. I got to make sure I got to come say hello to them on Monday before the game. But it is interesting too, though. You bring up the fact that we don't really play the Falcons all that often. I'm trying to think, like the last time we played the Falcons, 2020, right?
In Atlanta. Every 4 years.
Yeah. Very cool. Like, not to put you on the spot, did you grow up a Falcons fan?
Yeah, I did. I grew up a huge Falcons fan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Black still, right? You get the black in the uniform.
Yeah.
I will say I'm a little partial to the silver and black as opposed to
the
red
red
and black.
We got better jerseys than them. I mean, we have the best jerseys. That's absolutely timeless, classic, so good.
Timeless. Just like you, AJ Cole. Timeless, classic, and all the good stuff. Well, hey man, it was so good to see you. I know that it is nice to get you in my neck of the woods as opposed to me just hitting you on the helmet when you're trying to focus at practice. So it was very nice to see you. Every time that we hang out, it is such a pleasure. Tell your mom and dad I say hello, and I'll see you on Monday. How about that?
Absolutely. Let's get them.